In the previous lesson, we discussed an all-important subject, energy and mass, which are the building blocks of creation. However, the subject matter is extremely complex, and we will therefore devote more time to this all-important subject, for you must remember that your progress into the spiritual worlds will depend entirely upon your understanding. In fact, these concepts will actually become you and your life. Let us therefore study more about the atom and the attendant dimension of energy. We have now found that mass is an illusion and actually is composed of solar systems of energy called atoms, and which are a complex waveform system of energy which radiates an external field of force called an electromagnetic field. Atoms are either compatible or incompatible on the basis of these electromagnetic fields of frequency. In other words, the compatible atoms have linked themselves, so to speak, arm in arm, like a group of people might do, or that they could link themselves because of the difference in the rate of vibration or oscillation in their electromagnetic fields. The scientist of today possesses certain knowledge of electromagnetism. However, like all things, including atoms, he does not know their true originating source, and therefore much of their true nature still remains hidden. Various statements recently made public by a number of eminent scientists clearly show the limited perspectives of physical and nuclear science, and among other plans for future research and development, science is planning construction of a mile-long tunnel under the university campus at Berkeley, California, which will eventually become a super atom smasher, a new attempt at what is hoped will give scientists the necessary answers. You, dear student, from these pages, for a few pennies, can learn more about the atom and creation than the scientists will learn in the next 100 years with hundreds of billions of dollars. Another important fact about the atom is that it has two poles, north and south, or positive and negative. This is very important to remember, for it is in the alignment of polarities in a certain group of atoms which gives it a certain property or function called magnetism or magnetic hysteresis, such as is found in the common horseshoe magnet. This atom has a north and south magnetic pole, so do all other planets and asteroids, as well as the sun. These poles always remain exactly parallel with each other, like a group of matches laid side by side, the heads representing the positive or north pole and the small ends the south. The 30 billion stars which compose our galaxy also have their north and south poles, all properly aligned to the center of the galaxy, and all of which form the apex of a huge fourth-dimensional vortex. Now enters in a very important part of our concept of polarities. Opposites, or north and south poles, attract, whereas two north poles and two south poles repel. To best illustrate this important principle, or law, you must obtain two common horseshoe magnets from your local 10-cent store, also a few small 1-inch iron nails. Now take your two magnets and putting together the ends, you will find that they either very definitely attract or pull together, or they will seemingly push away from each other. This is the principle of attraction and repulsion of everyday usage, electronics such as motors. When the magnets are turned around so that the north poles and the south and south poles are together, they repel. Now take one of your magnets and put one of the common iron nails on the end. You will find that this nail can now attract and hold another similar nail, which is protruding outwardly from the end into free space. If you pull the nail away from the magnet, it loses its power. You will also find that your magnet can give off a constant, never-ending stream of magnetic energy for many years without diminishing. Where does this energy come from? The scientist does not really know. He knows that a magnet gives off energy because something has happened to the steel material from which it was made. However, he will remain ignorant of the true source until he can visualize that this energy comes from the next dimension, about which he knows very little or nothing. And up until the present, he has consistently refused to work in other dimensions because they are not reactive to his present understanding and physical laws of the material third dimension. An atom, as we have stated, is the apex of a small vortex of energy. This said vortex, being linked to other vortexes through magnetic lines, become the true source of all known energies and forms in this third dimension, as well as the very material used in its construction. Therefore, nothing is created in this material third dimension. It is only an expressive or terminating point for a very complex amount of activity from the adjacent dimensions. A dimension, by the way, is simply a conglomeration or a group of aggregates of various energy formations, wherein certain reactive components are found. Our third dimension is composed of 94 natural atoms and about 7 semi-synthesized atoms and their various attendant free energy or dynamic movements. As of today, the scientist has not succeeded in creating life, nor has he created an atom. In fact, even in this material world, no one has actually created anything. The process of creation, usually understood on this energy basis, merely means putting various aggregates of atoms together so that they will assume a new shape or form, and so they will perform different functions. This is the first step in which mankind begins to learn in common usage form how to become a constructive entity of consciousness.